Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. We've got some tip-top pro-level ladder action coming away this afternoon, chaps. I'm very excited about that. First of all, another quick message going out to all you guys regarding replay submissions. It's the age-old question of how to submit a replay to Gyle. I don't want to go into it too much detail, mainly because it's written in the description of every video I make. No, it's all good. It's not actually obviously at the top. You have to expand the info underneath the videos. So I don't blame you for not noticing, especially if you're new to the channel. And also, I only really accept submissions for FAF. So if you're playing FA through Forged Alliance Forever, I only really accept those ones, not ones you play through Steam or on some other archaic method. I don't know, your clockwork calculators that you might be playing Sopcom on. Also, if you're a Joe, please be aware, guys, that about 90 to 95% of all replays I get sent are average Joe's replays, and yet average Joes only make up probably about 35%, I'd say, there or thereabouts, of the actual ones that I end up casting. So it is an uphill battle. Please don't be upset if I don't select your replay, and please understand that there's more to it than just you having a phenomenal game. What might seem like an amazing replay to you because you ruffle stomped your arch nemesis in ladder in 3 minutes using an engineer and a mech marine, that might look amazing to you, but it doesn't necessarily make for the best viewing experience. So please trust my judgment, and please try not to hound me too much if I don't select your replay. You will know if you've been casted if you stay tuned. Anyway, like I said, it's going to be a ladder match today, and it's all going to go down on Fields of Isis. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. I do love Sopcom in general, but I love Fields of Isis ladder. It's fantastic. I actually hardly ever see Fields of Isis being played in its original form before the thing infected the Arctic colony. In the original form, it was a 2v2 map, but it's pretty popular in ladder these days. People tend not to ban it from their map pools, which is always nice to see. Of course, we're used to seeing the original setup 2v2, but we've had this in ladder, the 1v1 setup, many times. Let's take a look at the players and their starting locations. Up here at the top left in the blue corner, it's Doom, and he's going Cybran, opening first land. And down here at the bottom right in the red corner, it's the winner of this week's or this month's most casted player award, Mad-Mozart, and he's also going Cybran, so it's a mirror matchup, and he is opening first land. Going to shove that second air factory down next to the hydrocarbon. Are we going second air over here? No, we are not. Yes, we actually are. But a heavy land build queued up nonetheless. You can see that air factory going down next to the hydro as well. Oh, that's... Is that my OCD kicking in? Has he misaligned that? No, he hasn't. That's just a little bit of issue with the height map there on the build queue. I was about to get very upset for a moment, but it's alright. All is well with the world, and I think we can be generous with the game speed at the beginning of this one. Not a lot happens in the opening stages, but look out. What have we got here? We've got a little cheeky lab running in and achieving absolutely nothing. Runs headfirst into a mantis. Generally pretty bad for your health if you're a I nearly said Met Marine. If you're a what is it? It's a hunter, right? It is a hunter. Oh, just on a postcard. I'm gonna have to look that up. You see what happens when you don't cast regularly? You forget what all of the units are. Hunter. Thank you. I was right. I need to doubt myself less. Gyle, be more proactive or positive or assertive or whatever fashionable NLP word is being used this week. Anyway, scout planes out for both parties. Looks like Doom managed to pick off that one hovering over the top of his base nice and quickly. Mad-Mozart getting a good old look at his opponent. We can see what both have seen. That's pretty solid recce from Mad-Mozart there, even before he managed to get shot down. And the same goes there for Doom, for his opponent's base. Both these guys trying to set up some kind of established force in the two breaches there between the two sections of the map. A few things more tame and gentle than a one-on-one Mantis battle, but that one seemed to go better for Doom. Inties flying overhead for both parties here. Neither side getting a leg up on the other. And Mad-Mozart left with the controlling force in the center. Doom, meanwhile, has moved his ACU out to the northernmost aperture. Starts work on a land factory. And it's interesting as well, you're seeing these guys getting to the front, not scooping a huge amount of mass. It would seem that Mad-Mozart has picked up a little. In fact, we can probably glean who's picked up more. 1200 there for Mozart. Doom a paltry 500. So indeed, Doom yet to scoop any of his. Wanted to get the build capacity in place in that northern aperture first before he started scooping anything, which is fair enough. Secure the area. I like the thinking. And on a one-on-one, you're not going to be facing the same old force that you're going to be getting in a 2-on-2, so that's perfectly acceptable play. Mad-Mozart also establishing a bit of a base, getting some reclaim on now with the help of his trusty engineer that's just popped out of that factory. 4 queued up, or not queued up, stationary Mantis standing guard down here for Doom, just protecting those mexes, I guess. Doesn't want any engineers making their way in here and throwing down a unit of T1 PD that's going to hamper expansion. It's going to allow his engineer to come down there and pick that up. And looky, he's working on denying expansion up here as well, just sending a few Mantis up there. People are still telling me off for that. Some people saying it's Manta or Manti guy. Gyle, it's it's Manti guy. That's right. Asia's still kicking in. But nice little bit of intel there from Mad-Mozart, forward scout, giving him just enough warning of anything coming his way. And you really can't put a price on that. It's nice sometimes to look at it in this view, especially if you don't play the game. Forget that this is all that the players can see. Fog of War playing its part as it does in all RTSs. Mad-Mozart's going to start to anchor that down there, throws down a unit of T1 PD and gets the backward for the further back build capacity there to start construction on Magno. Did I call it? I think in a previous cast I took a look at that. Never knew what the Cybran radar was called, and I took a quick look at it in the bottom left hand corner there and thought it said Mango or Mangu. It's not, it's Magno. So early on in this one, we've had 7.5 minutes of play. Mad-Mozart ever so slightly ahead in eco, 53 to 41, and yet down on map control ever so slightly. Northern aperture in Doom's hands, southern aperture in Mad-Mozart's, and now he's working on really anchoring down these central northern mass points so that Mad-Mozart can't expand into them. And I'm surprised he's moving off there. Of course, Mantis have their own on-board engineering capabilities. They can't start construction, but they can assist construction. But he knew best, of course, as these players often do. Got that PD up in time. But now Mad-Mozart's going to find it just that little bit harder, at least for the moment, to grab those northern mexes. To be fair, he doesn't seem too worried about it for the moment. Hasn't made a single push up that way, but he has got plenty of Medusas in there, so as and when he decides to take it, PD not going to be completely successful in stopping him, I shouldn't think. Doom taking a bit of fire here, down to around 7,000 HP, but also racking up a few kills in the process. 12 kills on that ACU so far. We'll take a look at general spam count here. Mantis, always a good indicator of how people are doing in the early stages of a game. 8 minutes, nearly 9 minutes gone in this one. Mad-Mozart sitting on a 32 Mantis on the map. And that compares to the 53 of Doom, And Mad-Mozart's still ahead despite down on actual mechs count. This would suggest to me that Doom's playing a slightly more aggressive game. Mozart ecoing ever so slightly harder, upgrading those mexes in a more timely fashion than his opponent. We do have T2 Tech on the field over here on the far left. Mad-Mozart upgrading that land factory. What's he working on for the moment? Well, it is just T2 engineers, and he's concerning himself predominantly with power production. Also getting concerned about early TAC missile play. Got a few zappers queued up in the base there for Doom. Always scary on this map. You've got such a wide base. It feels like such a narrow map, but because you're essentially covering two pretty broad starting locations, it does make you potentially vulnerable to early TAC missile sniping. So Doom just warding off against that. And we're starting to see a few T2 units, aggressive units on the field as well. We've got Rhinos making their way to the front lines there for Doom. And a few more making their way down here. And it's interesting, Mad-Mozart withdrawing his ACU back to his main base. See where the move order is actually going to, right the way back here. So clearly aware, I guess, that he's perhaps a little lighter on the ground than his opponent, and he'd certainly be correct in that assumption now. T2 factories being upgraded on the front line now for Doom, so quick and easy to reinforce. And more Rhinos rolling off the production line, so to all intents and purposes it would seem that Mad-Mozart has abandoned this position. Of course, it's all a matter of time until Doom realizes that and takes that southern aperture back. A lot of build capacity on reclaim missions out front. Let's take another look at how things are going on the reclaim side of things. 10,300, 10,400 banked so far in this one for Mad-Mozart, whereas Doom, well, sitting on around 9,200, so not a huge amount of difference between these two guys, and Doom actually catching up slightly in the maths run. Of course, the moment I make reference to it, Mad-Mozart jumps back into the lead by about 7 mass, but there's not a huge amount in it. Mad-Mozart has also made his way to T2 and has a lot of T2 factories upgraded. Whole battalions, or platoons I should say, of Rhinos now rolling off the construction lines and heading towards the front line. A lot of cagey openings on this one, so ISIS can get like this sometimes, the early stages, both players feeling each other out. Could we have a push down here in the southern aperture? It does look that way. Down goes the Magno. I want to call it a Mangu because that's just immense. I think we should all petition the FAF powers that be to have the name changed to Mangu. Clearly it's a superior name. And that is going to be the end of that unloved land factory. Down it goes. Now just a derelict husk. That is the High Wycombe equivalent there of Fields of Isis. Just a derelict husk of Buckinghamshire. Those of you who live in southern England will understand. The rest of you in the world will have no idea what I'm on about. Don't worry, your life isn't the poorer for it. Now, pretty heavy probing push from Doom, but not that much T2 in the mix there. In fact, I'd go so far as to say there's more T2 in the counter push coming from Mad-Mozart. Doom now skirting backwards. Let's take a look at what Doom can see, and you get an idea of just how cagey it can be. One T1 radar, one Magno back here for Doom, and you can see the boundary lines there. Gives you pretty good coverage, but there's plenty of room for units to hide over on this side. Mad-Mozart looking like he wants to set up a proper forward intel station there. Just getting the T1 power gens ready to flank that radar. We're wanting to get to T2 on that more or less straight away. I think, in fact, that is a T21. Yeah, a Magno XR. Everything with X in it is better, so it's clearly T2. And now another push. Finally, Mozart makes his move on these central northern mexes. Down goes that T1 PD that really didn't get much of a look in this one. It was more built out of other than necessity, general wariness from Doom, but Doom self-destructs a whole line of wall sections there so he can evac his troops to the other side of it. Another wall going up further behind. Doom potentially getting a little bit concerned about this huge red force that's moving on that position. And that is a T2 land factory, in fact 2 T2 land factories, and this one is upgrading to T3, so we have T3 tech in play, and currently we're getting trebuchets, so that's T3 mobile arty being constructed for Doom, one already in position at the central reservation, and that could be painful. Taking a look at the range on that, well, he's going to fall short of that new intel station there for Mozart. So that won't be a coincidence either. These players well aware of the sort of ranges of artillery and the such. Mozart will have purposefully placed that out of harm's way. And it is such a an expected stratagem, or rather tactic, on ISIS to nestle in T3 mobile artillery next to this central reservation, because of the amount of harassment you can lay down on installations and your opponent's forces. Isn't that a pretty shot? Despite all of the Cybrins in it. Just maybe use your creative minds. Superimpose a few UEF units in there. But a few T1 bombers coming in, so Mad-Mozart going to counter these T3 mobile arties with a wave of T1 bombers, and that's actually an incredibly cost-effective measure. Yes, they run into a burst master back here that takes them all out, but T1 bombers, 2 a penny, as my mother would have said. That successfully takes one of them down. Another one of those trebuchets leveled to around just 50 hit points. So I do like that move, and Mad-Mozart pretty dominant in the air in this one. Yes, it's just T1 inties, not a lot of them, 15 to be precise, but Doom recently neglecting the air game while he techs up, but he has now hit T3, and ASFs making their arrival onto the field will more than likely mark the end of Mad-Mozart's short-lived reign of terror in the air. Another T1 bomber is going to come in, finish off that T3 mobile and take out that T1 radar to add insult to proverbial injury. Another radar immediately constructed a little bit further back. And now we're getting a bit of counter artillery fire. So T3 in place for Mad-Mozart, both on 149 mass per tick. So this one is bang on level between these two guys right now, albeit a little bit more map control in the hands of Doom so far. 18 minutes gone, so we're at T3 air and land for Doom, T3 land for Mad-Mozart. The question is, what can Doom do with this T3 air? He's got a massive air advantage, and he's starting to produce whalers now. He's got 3 of them, and that makes a huge amount of difference. Mad-Mozart a little bit weak on anti-air. Just T1 anti-air, those tracers, they're really not going to do much damage to those whalers, so Doom with an opportunity here as long as he doesn't wait too long. He's got his ASF sitting way back here, so he hasn't shown his hand yet. Mad-Mozart will be unaware of the tech deficit he's sitting at. Another wave of T1 bombers coming in. And just harassing that wreck there. That's always good Cybran policy. Bricks reinforcing the front line now for Doom. Let's take a look at how these two guys are matched on T3 ground for the moment. 6 bricks on the field at the moment for Doom. Mad-Mozart sitting on just 2. So Doom still slightly ahead in this one, albeit on the unit front. Now suddenly jumps behind in eco, 181 to 149. So that's what Mad-Mozart has been doing. He's been ecoing, but Doom now showing his hand, coming across with those inevitable T3 spy planes. Mad-Mozart will surely be rushing air now to counter somewhere, but we'll keep an eye on the action as the Whalers come in over the top, take down a couple of the static defenses there, and then move on to the mexes. One T2 down, another follows, another on the way as well. Just a handful of T1 interceptors respond initially, but then the rest of them follow on. Down goes the first Whaler, but almost all of the T2 mexes up here have been destroyed, and suddenly Doom out in front on eco. That's been a very nice, effective attack there from Doom. Decides he doesn't need to stay around, bugs on out, but yet he's not really at risk of losing these. The onboard anti-air more than a match for the paltry number of interceptors coming to deal with them. More T1 bombers over the top. And once again, Doom in a solid position up front here, throwing together some shield gens, presumably to protect those trebuchets from that T1 bomber spam. But very nice work indeed. Then suddenly they drop down to level pegging, but that's because Doom bottlenecks himself on power, and that's because he's going straight for strat bombers, wants to continue to press the advantage he's got for the moment in the air game with this tech advantage. Surely we're going to see some air tech on the way. Not that I can see yet, unless I'm missing another air factory somewhere that's upgrading. Got a lot of mobile anti-air coming about, those bangers moving northwards as we speak, but this time he's targeting the main base, going after the core T3 mechs as it takes a couple, or in fact 3 strat bombs I think, or maybe even 4 to finish off a T3 mechs. Those 2 land without any difficulty, but there are some units of T3 anti-air in that little fire base down here, and they're not going to get a second look in, so that T3 mech survives on 2900 HP. That would really have put Doom in a good position, but Doom bottlenecking so badly on power, and that is affecting his mass in a big way. Needs to get a handle on his power production quickly, and indeed that's what he's doing, working on an ion reactor there. In fact, is that his first one? I think that might well be, as I'm pretty sure Mad-Mozart has had T3 power in play for a while. No, he's working on one as well. So he has just spammed a lot more T2 and is also, of course, not working on T3 air. So Doom sacrifices a little bit of eco by bottlenecking on power to get that early T3 air attack out. And now he can start to gain ground as his eco recovers. Look at that, 177 to 152. That's definitely put him back out in front. 23 minutes gone in this one. Doom looking like he wants to test the waters up here. There's a lot of spam down here, but there are a lot of rhinos as well. In fact, Take a look at just how many there are. 38 rhinos in that mix. You could be forgiven for thinking that that was mostly T1, but there's actually a lot of concealed firepower in that blob. And some bricks to back up further behind. Doom throwing an upgrade on his commander. It's that time to start thinking about a resource upgrade. More strat bombers accumulating on this side of the map. Very cagey game, this one. Neither player wanting to give too much away, be too aggressive. Doom just looking like he's changing his mind there. Came forward with those whalers. Now the next round of strat bombers going to come in over the top. Not going to go for broke. Drop a few bombs. First of all, actually, they're going to go straight on over the base. Quite surprised he decided to go for that. The amount of resistance that the last strat bombers ran into. Perhaps he simply didn't issue the recall command in time, or rather came in at the wrong angle there. Mad-Mozart, unhappy about the threat on his doorstep to the south, is going to move on that position. All strat bombers coming in over the top. That seemed to fail to drop its bomb there, but the second one doesn't. That lands plumb in the middle, damaging that central group of bricks. Not the greatest bit of formation building there from Doom. Two different groups split up, facing the oncoming forces too well, but in the meantime he manages to move on the old base, and that is the T2 radar out of commission. Does Mozart have another one further back? He's got that one up there, and that is it. He is now dark over the rest of the map up here. Strat bombers really paying dividends. We do have T2 air tech in play for Mozart, and he's working on T3, which is nearly complete, 97%, and that will help him sleep better at night. So far the T3 air from Doom has been punishing him quite badly. So that little push out from Mozart didn't really materialize any gains for him. Thinned out the forces in the south, but he did lose that forward position. But look at the eco differential, and considering how much harassment Mad-Mozart has been under and how little he's done offensively, it's fair to say Doom has slipped in this one. But he is working on a nuke launcher, which is 700 going on 800 hit points done out of 4,000. It's going to be a while before it completes. But astonishingly, Mad-Mozart in front, albeit by a whisker in eco. He will be very happy to be in that position, considering the amount of pressure he's been under. Another wave of strat bombers, real commitment to the mass sniping there. A lot of strats died in that. Just not sure that's made an awful lot of impact. A better target actually would have been the ion reactor. Of course, it's easy to say when you're able to see absolutely everything. Take the ion reactor down. Could do it with half as many strats, and the explosion would have taken out a lot of the build capacity around this HQ, and you probably would have bottlenecked Mozart. Well, not much actually. He's got quite a lot of T2 power that's bolstering him here. How's that nuke launcher doing? Not too badly. Doom throwing up P-gens around it. It's going to want to get some shielding in around that as well, I would imagine. A lot of build capacity being shifted onto that ion reactor. And Doom now back out in front. I'm wondering if that was the resource option you saw going on the commander there. Yep, RAS enabled. So that is why we would unlikely probably to have seen the power cap come in had he gone for the ion reactor there on Mozart. Mozart probably rocking the RAS as well. Yes, he is. 28 minutes in this one. A lot of mass. Not unreasonable to see it, but decent amount of scouting perhaps, or just intuition. There goes a strategic missile defense being placed. Has he seen it? Yes, he has. He's flown over, so decent scouting there from those spy planes alerts him to the threat, and he immediately starts work on that. And it now becomes a race to see who can build the missile quickest. And indeed, there goes the shield gens all around to protect it. A lot of build capacity, focusing now on building that missile in the silo. That is a major commitment in terms of eco. Building the nuke launcher and the missile. It's like building a experimental, like the equivalent of, I suppose it's probably the equivalent of a little bit more than a GC or a Thota, a little bit less than a megalith. But now, suddenly a very static game. Doom going for the standoff, firepower. Mozart going defensive after seeing it. Is he able to build it effectively? Yep, he's got a lot of power left over. So should be no stalling on the construction of that. How are we doing with the strategic missile defense? Well, that's not even completed yet. That has to be a concern for Mad-Mozart. And on the top of it, well, it's going to cover his core base, certainly, but could sneak a missile in. Should that get online and get a missile in it, you could sneak a nuke up here and maybe take out 3 mexes. Certainly wouldn't be the return Doom would be hoping from that investment, but take what you can get when your opponent thwarts your plans. Mad-Mozart just making a push now. He's accumulated an awful lot of bricks in that mix. How many has he got? He's got 35 bricks, counting as well the 5 stationed back here at base. 35 bricks. So 30 in this pile. And he's even got 1 or 2 mobile anti-airs there. The bouncers. Definitely don't want to lead with those, though. That could have been a little bit better. That forward bouncer taking a kicking before it finally gets incinerated. Exchanging of fire here between these 2 groups of units, but it's like Mad-Mozart just about getting the advantage. There's a lot of airplay going on at the same time. We've got strats coming in from Mozart, ASF scrambling from Doom to pick them off before they do too much damage. That's got to be a pretty valuable target, these 2 radar stations. In fact, there's an Omni up there at the front. Doom potentially worried perhaps about early Monkey Lord play. That would counter that nicely. See that Omni there. Everything inside that red circle, stealth and all, will be uncovered on the radar, but that is going very well for Mad-Mozart. Whalers in over the top for Doom, trying to lay down as much damage as possible. That nuke is on about 75% done, but there's no PD up front. There's no coverage. That's going to be what Mozart is driving towards. He needs to kill it. That anti-nuke only on about 40 to 45% done. If he doesn't kill it here, Doom is going to be able to level his entire base in one fell swoop. There's still a decent amount of bricks left for Mad-Mozart. Doom has run out of ground units. He's got about 3 bricks coming in from the main base. A lot of whalers over the top hammering down on those units, but I think they're going to make it down. Go the front bricks once again. One last Medusa making an appearance there before it goes pop. You might say bring your ACU in and throw in an overcharge, but that's a lot of bricks. You don't want to get caught in a bad situation with your ACU, and down goes the ion reactor. The shield collapses in the explosion, and initially the nuke launcher survives, but then it dies. Oh my god. Mad-Mozart plays a blinder and saves his base for ruin, and Doom is not impressed, as you wouldn't be. That's 15,000 mass for the nuke launcher itself, and then another 12,000 more or less for a completed missile that he nearly finished. Down goes the last brick, but the damage is done. Ouch, that really hurts. And now, gaping holes in the defensive for Doom. Mad-Mozart has realized Doom doesn't have a lot on the ground. He can make progress here, and as such, he's sending out another batch of bricks through the northern aperture. More power being built in the main base. He no longer needs to spam it, but he's going to get one in the hole in the clip anyway, because why not? Better safe than sorry. Whalers come out to say, yeah, no, you can go home to those bricks. A lot of damage coming off those gunships. And that's a lot of strap bombers as well. Doom needs to be careful, doesn't want to get ACU sniped with those. More power on the way. 35 minutes gone in this one, and although well ahead on mass, yeah, that is legitimate, well ahead on mass, Doom is losing momentum a little bit in this one, and now Mozart will realize there is little or no static anti-air in his base. No strap bombers flying over and not getting shot at all. So much build capacity right for the plucking. Please, kill the engineers. I know they're not the most valuable thing, but yeah, you're right. Go for the power. Much more sensible. Engineer Holocaust is merely a perverted UEF fantasy. Down goes a reactor. It takes one of those factories with it. Another reactor about to go down. This is going to cripple Doom's power production. Look at that. And that is really going to hamper him. Drops him down to just 125 mass per tick as those mexes start working in much diminished capacity. ASF's struggling to keep up with the tide of strap bombers coming in from Mozart, who has played a blinder here, having been behind, albeit just a little bit, for a good portion of this match. Doom now finds himself having to rebuild power again. We've seen so many ion reactors go up, not just in that last strap bomber attack, but the brick assault before then. That was at least 2 or 3 ion reactors that died in that as well. Doom slowly working on getting his power back together, has to stop air production altogether. And if he's not careful, he's going to be wasting mass soon. That tank filling up. It's the last thing you want to be doing in any game of SOTCOM. It's fine, it doesn't matter nearly so much in a team game, as it's going to boil over to your teammates who'll be able to spend it, but you just don't want to be losing that mass. And once again we get to a stage in the game where the action falls off a little bit. These two players calculating their next move. A lot of shielding going up around that anti-nuke. Mozart determined to hang on to it should Doom decide to repeat his previous strategy and try and get another nuke together, but I'd be surprised if he'd go down that route. First order of business is to sort his eco problems out. But look out, Scathis lined up right in the center there. That is ambitious. He's got a lot of build capacity. He's got a decent eco. You think about those kind of numbers, you rarely see that in your average ladder games because you get a lot of mass points anyway in the regular base section on ISIS when you've got two of them to play with, and you get all of those mexes up to T2 and T3. Start pulling in the serious figures. Mozart unable to throw all of that build capacity onto the Scathis though. He's got so much mass and not the power to spend it effectively. Needs more power. Heard that before somewhere. Cue the Scotty impressions in comments. I will accept. But look at that air power of the top from Mozart, obliterating the ASFs that are left there from Doom. And of course, Doom unable to activate their stealth, giving Mozart the upper hand that he just didn't need. Enough work already done on the numbers front, so Mozart looking very dominant now in both the theatres of land and air. March of the Bricks Part 2 ensues, and Doom retreating back to his base with just a couple of bricks, still with virtually no defenses. Immediately pulls all of the build capacity off the Scathis, which is about 45% complete, and dumps it onto a Monkey Lord, which is being thrown together incredibly quickly. Thank goodness he had that store of mass saved up. He's able to spam that together in very good order, and he is going to need it. I would be surprised if it manages to hold. I'm pretty sure I've heard talk of 8 bricks being effectively able to dispatch a Monkey Lord if they all present their fire at the same or near enough the same amount of time. Monkey Lord online. Mozart will now be aware that there's one in the area. He's got so many bricks. Is that going to worry him? There are more bricks building up though for Doom. The laser comes in and suddenly fire coming in from the top as well. Mozart thinks, hang on a minute, I really don't fancy that. Another Monkey Lord under construction there. Dances into the yellow incredibly quickly, up to 50%. That is a beautiful sight. Nothing more satisfying than just insta-building an experimental. So much firepower so very quickly. And there it goes. You can see Mozart's bricks retreating in the distance there. He's like, yeah, I'm not having any of that. So he's bought himself time, and he could now go back to building that Scathis, but he still looking light defensively in that area. There's only 2 shield gens that are upgraded to the 3rd level, the 3rd rank. So that's not a huge amount. It's 10,000 HP shield coverage. That will soon dissipate under sustained attack. And that Scathis is being thrown together so quickly. That is a beautiful sight, but the mass reserves are now exhausted. He's operating purely off generated mass and reclaim. There's a ton of wrecks down here. Let's take a look at reclaim. In fact, Mad-Mozart has pulled in 53,000 mass to date. Doom, conversely, having been under the heaviest attack in the latter stages of this game, has pulled in 76, going on 77,000 mass and climbing, and that's climbing fast as well. A lot of wrecks sitting on his doorstep here, which he's able to feed off, and that is what is powering the construction of that Scathis, which is very nearly done indeed. 16,000 hit points of 17,500 complete. Still very vulnerable to air, though. If we see another big strap bomb attack, or indeed a big gunship attack, a lot of whalers queuing up there for Mozart, and that will be in response to the construction of that artillery, which is now complete. And I just don't see enough anti-air out there to keep those units out. Doom manages to get the Scathis online. First couple of shots fired. We'll soon see where those shots are being aimed at. Remember, the Scathis, not like the old one, is limited on range. But if I can select the right player, that would help. There you go. So you can't hit all of his base, but he can hit the front lines of the production facilities there. He could always move it forward, but that's assuming he can survive a possible impending air assault from Mozart, hovering over the top of his monkey lords here with these gunships, focusing on the bricks at first, perhaps wanting to thin those out. Take down those monkey lords, he'll have an open door to walk this land force in. He hasn't got anything else up in the northern aperture, but the Scathis now raining down on those forward facilities. Yes, they're producing bricks, but there are many more critical systems in Mozart's base that he'll be happy Doom can't reach at the moment with that Scathis. Down goes the first monkey lord, second one surely to follow. Whalers peppering that chassis with firepower. Only a little bit of anti-air fire coming from back here. We've got a few Myrmidons, static T3 anti-air that could cause a few problems for those gunships further back. But we've had a drop as well. I completely missed it. Apologies for that. A drop of T3 units, some bricks brought in there from Mad-Mozart. Very nice work indeed. He's taken down all of those mexes. Fantastic work. And a Soul Ripper online as well, making its way towards Doom's base. Yes, there's Scathis fire coming in. Is Mad-Mozart worried about that? No, he won't be. He's safe for the moment. The rest of his base is intact. There's a Soul Ripper inbound. Not enough anti-air to ward it off. Ton of bricks meandering around outside the front of Doom's base. And Doom's ACU bang out front as well. Is the Soul Ripper even going to bother going for the Scathis, or is he just going to finish off the shield gens and then the ACU? That would be my bet. Down goes the first one. Second one follows very soon afterwards indeed. He does start on the Scathis and then changes his mind. He's going after Doom's ACU. He's working on a megalith, but that's not going to help matters. Doom throws out the GG as the Hellfire starts clamoring down all around him. He decides to go for one last walk, because why not? Getting out in the open, always a good remedy when you're terminally ill. There he is, down he goes. 45 minutes on the nose, and Doom is dispatched. Very well played from Mozart. Doom was ahead for a good 20-25 minutes on that one, but Mozart too strong in late game. Very nicely played indeed. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. As always, more to come from me in the future, but in the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.